My name is Rachel Carter, and right now I'm sitting alone at my kitchen island staring at a cream-colored wedding invitation with silver embossed lettering like it's some kind of cruel psychological experiment. I keep expecting someone to jump out and tell me this is fake, a prank, a nightmare, anything except real life. But it is real, because 20 minutes ago, my husband, technically my soon-to-be ex-husband, called me and casually asked if I received their invitation. There, as if he and I weren't together for almost 9 years, as if we didn't build a life together, as if the woman he's marrying wasn't the surrogate carrying our baby just a few months ago, and now they're getting married, with my daughter in their engagement photos. Before I completely lose my mind, I need to explain how all of this happened, because if I don't get this out somewhere, I think I'm going to explode. Daniel, and I got married when I was 27. He was 29. We were that annoying couple everyone thought would last forever. College sweethearts, the couple with matching coffee mugs and inside jokes. We bought a 2-story house outside of Seattle, complete with one of those ridiculous Pinterest-perfect front porches. We talked constantly about kids, big family dinners, Christmas mornings, soccer games, chaos. But the kids never came. For almost 5 years, we tried everything. Pregnancy tests, fertility specialists, hormone injections, surgery, supplements, tracking apps, prayers. Hope became this toxic thing that crushed me a little more every month. Eventually, doctors diagnosed me with severe adenomyosis and scar tissue damage. After my 3rd surgery, my specialist sat us down and gently explained that while my ovaries were still healthy, carrying a pregnancy myself would probably be impossible. I remember hearing the words, but it felt like my brain shut down halfway through the conversation. Daniel held my hand the entire drive home. He told me we'd get through it together. That word mattered back then. Together? Eventually, we started researching surrogacy. It took months. Agencies, lawyers, background checks, profiles, interviews. That's how we found Lily Harper. Lily was 25 with this soft, wholesome energy that instantly made people trust her. Brown hair, warm smile, the kind of woman who looked like she volunteered at animal shelters on weekends. She told us she had previously been a surrogate for a family in Arizona and described it as the most meaningful experience of her life. She said helping families was her passion. At the time, she sounded like an angel. The agency cleared her. Our attorneys finalized contracts. Everything looked professional and secure. The IVF transfer worked on the 2nd attempt. My egg, Daniel's sperm. Biologically, that baby was ours. That detail becomes important later. Trust me, the day we found out Lily was pregnant, Daniel cried in the parking garage outside the clinic. I cried too. For the first time in years, I thought maybe life was finally giving us a break. At first, Lily was perfect. She sent weekly updates, ultrasound photos, videos of the baby kicking. We covered every expense and gave her extra whenever she needed something. Daniel and I attended every appointment we could. And looking back now, that's probably where everything started. But I didn't see it. I was too happy, too grateful, too desperate for this dream to finally happen. Sometimes I couldn't attend appointments because of work. I'm a brand strategist for a software company, and we were launching a massive campaign at the time. Daniel worked remotely as a business consultant, so he started going alone whenever I couldn't make it. It seemed reasonable, normal. He'd come home smiling, telling me the baby was healthy and Lily was doing amazing. Around month 5, Daniel suggested we invite Lily over more often. She's doing something incredible for us, he said. She should feel appreciated. I thought it was sweet, so we started having dinners together every few weeks, then every week. Then she was practically part of our lives. We'd sit around talking about baby names and nursery decorations for hours. I noticed Daniel texting her constantly, but I ignored the uneasy feeling in my stomach. Pregnancy updates, doctor appointments, logistics, that's what I told myself. Then came month 7, the first real warning sign. I borrowed Daniel's laptop one evening because mine was dead. His messages were open. Lily's name sat at the top of the conversation list. I know I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The messages weren't openly romantic, not exactly, but they were intimate, too intimate. Good morning texts, private jokes, him asking if she slept okay, her saying she couldn't stop thinking about him replying, same here, then adding, and the baby obviously haha. That stupid haha still makes me sick. I confronted him immediately. Daniel looked genuinely offended. He said I was overthinking everything, that he was simply supporting the woman carrying our child. Then he pulled out the classic move. He said I was emotional from years of fertility trauma. Emotional, hormonal, overwhelmed. He made me question my own instincts, and because I'd spent years feeling broken from infertility, I believed him. I let it go. God, I let it go. Then Lily moved into our guest room. She claimed her apartment building had mold remediation happening and needed a temporary place to stay during the final month of pregnancy. Of course we said yes. She was carrying our daughter. How could we refuse? At first it seemed temporary, then it slowly became permanent, and I watched my husband fall in love with another woman right in front of me while convincing myself I was imagining it. Little touches, long eye contact, conversations that abruptly stopped when I entered the room. Daniel constantly fussing over her, making tea, massaging her feet, buying her favorite snacks. I kept rationalizing all of it. She's carrying our baby. She needs support. You're paranoid. That became my internal mantra. Then our daughter arrived 3 weeks early. 7 pounds. Perfect. We named her Ella Grace. The moment I held her, everything in my life finally felt complete. All the pain suddenly seemed worth it. Lily held her too. The agency had prepared us for that. Some surrogates need emotional closure before separation. Totally normal. But the way Daniel looked at Lily while she held Ella, that wasn't normal. That wasn't professional. That was love. We brought Ella home after 2 days. Lily came with us because she was still recovering. I started maternity leave, and despite everything, those first weeks with Ella were genuinely beautiful. She was calm, easygoing, barely cried. I was exhausted but happier than I'd ever been. Daniel acted like the perfect father. Night feedings, diapers, bottles, but he also devoted all his attention to Lily, constantly checking on her, talking with her for hours, making sure she was comfortable. I ignored the warning signs because I wanted my family so badly. Then one night, around 2 a.m., I walked into the kitchen to warm a bottle. Daniel and Lily were standing near the refrigerator. Very close. Too close. They jumped apart when they saw me. Couldn't sleep, Daniel said quickly. Just getting water, Lily added. I pretended to believe them, but something inside me started screaming. Still, I doubted myself. I was sleep-deprived, emotionally drained, terrified of ruining the happiness we'd finally achieved. Then came the moment I can never forget. I came home from a quick grocery run and found them sitting together, on the couch with Ella between them, laughing, relaxed, comfortable. They looked like a family, and I looked like an outsider walking into someone else's house. That night I finally told Daniel Lily needed to move out. Her recovery period was over. Instead of agreeing, he got defensive immediately. We had our first real fight in years, shouting, accusations, me asking if he had feelings for her, him calling me paranoid and controlling. That night he slept in the downstairs guest room. The next morning, everything exploded. I woke up to Ella crying and walked toward the nursery. Daniel was holding her, and Lily stood beside him wearing one of his t-shirts. His shirt. My stomach dropped instantly. We need to talk, Daniel said. Those 4 words, the worst words in the English language. We sat in the living room, Ella between us in her bouncer, Lily next to Daniel on the couch, me alone across from them. That seating arrangement told me everything before they even spoke. Daniel started talking about unexpected feelings, about how the pregnancy experience brought them closer, about emotional connections. Then Lily reached over and held his hand. His wedding ring was still on his finger. That detail shattered something in me. We fell in love, Daniel said quietly, like that explained anything. Like love erased betrayal. Like love excused destroying someone's life. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because my brain literally couldn't process what I was hearing. Then I told them to get out. That's when things became even worse. Because Daniel said they wanted to discuss custody arrangements for Ella. Custody. I thought I misheard him. But no, they genuinely believed Lily deserved a place in Ella's life because she carried her. And Daniel wanted them to raise Ella together, as a family. That word almost made me physically sick. We had legal contracts, clear agreements, but suddenly their attorney claimed emotional attachment and changing circumstances. They left that afternoon. Daniel packed half the baby supplies, the expensive stroller, formula, clothes, everything. Then divorce papers arrived 3 days later, and ever since then, my life has felt like a nonstop panic attack. Before I continue, if you enjoy intense real-life betrayal stories like this, subscribe to Real Spill right now because stories on this channel only get crazier from here. Trust me, this situation somehow becomes even more disturbing. Daniel requested shared custody. His lawyer argued that he and Lily could provide a stable 2-parent household. As if I was suddenly inadequate. As if I was the problem. My attorney says the surrogacy contract heavily favors me, but family court is unpredictable. Judges care about best interests of the child. That phrase terrifies me now. I barely sleep anymore. I return to work early just to afford legal fees. My mother watches Ella while I'm at the office. Daniel now picks Ella up every Wednesday and alternate weekends. He lives with Lily in a luxury apartment downtown. An apartment partially paid for using money we saved for our future, for Ella's future. And during those visits, I pump breast milk knowing Lily is feeding my daughter while playing house with my husband. Then came today, the wedding invitation. After staring at it for 10 minutes, I finally called Daniel back. He answered immediately. "Did you get it?" he asked casually, like we were discussing dinner plans. I asked if he was insane. He claimed they were trying to be civil, for Ella's sake. Then he said something so unbelievable I genuinely thought I might faint. They're getting married at the same vineyard where Daniel and I got married. Same venue, same ceremony garden, same ballroom, the same place where he promised to love me forever. And then, somehow, it got worse, because he asked if I could contribute financially to the wedding. I'm serious. He actually asked me for money, claiming legal expenses and child support arrangements had stretched their budget. I couldn't even speak. I hung up. Then I threw up in my kitchen sink. My lawyer later told me the request was morally disgusting but technically not illegal. She advised me to save the invitation and messages for court. But honestly, I don't even care about revenge anymore. I just want my old life back. That night, my best friend Nicole came over with wine and takeout after. I texted her a photo of the invitation. She stared at it for a full 10 seconds before saying, "Please tell me you're not considering paying for this circus." I laughed so hard I almost cried. Then I actually did cry, because part of me still couldn't understand how my entire life collapsed this fast. Nicole kept insisting none of this was my fault. But deep down, I still wondered if I missed signs, if I worked too much, if infertility emotionally broke our marriage before I realized it. Then she said something that stuck with me. "Rachel, normal people don't steal someone's husband while carrying their child." That sentence replayed in my head all night. The next morning, I made a mistake. I checked Lily's Instagram public profile, and there it was. My nightmare displayed like a fairytale romance. Pictures of Daniel kissing her cheek while holding Ella, family outings, matching outfits, engagement photos, captions about finding unexpected love. The comments were filled with strangers calling them adorable, soulmates, perfect family. Nobody knew the truth. Then I started scrolling further back, and I found something that made my blood run cold. A photo from nearly a year ago, before we hired Lily, before the agency, before any of this. Lily sitting in a coffee shop, and blurred in the background, "Daniel?" I zoomed in repeatedly. It was definitely him. My hands started shaking. I immediately called the agency coordinator, a woman named Janet, who helped match us with Lily. At first she sounded cheerful. Then I asked a very specific question. How exactly was Lily matched with us? Janet explained that Lily specifically requested our profile. Apparently surrogates sometimes feel drawn toward certain families. Then I asked if they verified whether Lily previously knew Daniel. Silence. Long silence. Finally Janet admitted prior relationships between intended parents and surrogates would violate agency protocol. That's when everything clicked into place. This wasn't random. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't two people unexpectedly falling in love. They knew each other before she ever became our surrogate, which means there's a very real possibility this entire thing was planned from the beginning. And honestly, that realization hurt even more than the affair itself. Because if I'm right, then they didn't just betray me. They targeted me, a vulnerable woman desperate for a child. And that level of manipulation is something I still don't know how to process. Now the court battle is approaching. The wedding is 6 weeks away. And every single day I wake up terrified that somehow I could lose my daughter to the two people who destroyed my life. But one thing is certain, I'm done doubting my instincts. And I'm done being quiet. If you want more shocking betrayal stories, subscribe to Real Spill.